Before I begin, I've had a couple of questions about our title, so I thought I'd just clarify something for you. The first words of the title, Posing Sodomite, are a quotation from a visiting card left by the Marquess of Queensberry for Oscar Wilde at his club, and the sick after it indicating that the misspelling belongs to Queensberry, not to us. He was trying to spell sodomite, spelling wasn't his forte. Anyway, that's the explanation. So on February the 18th, 1895, after receiving a visiting card at the Albemarle Club inscribed with the words, "To Oscar Wilde, posing sodomite," the great dramatist set in motion legal proceedings that would terminate in his public humiliation, imprisonment, and untimely death. The visiting card itself was a deliberate affront to Wilde's dignity, planned and executed by the Marquess of Queensberry, with whose son, Lord Alfred Douglas, Wilde was pursuing an affair. Anxious to protect his honour from the scandalous imputation of sodomy, Wilde brought an action under the 1843 Criminal Libel Act that remains one of the most notoriously ill-judged litigations of British legal history. Queensberry secured his acquittal by means of a plea of justification. He was innocent of the libel charge because the claims he made were substantively true and published for the public benefit. And Wilde then found himself in the dock, prosecuted under Section 11 of the Criminal Law Amendment Act of 1885 for committing acts of gross indecency between male persons. The first of the trials that followed ended in a hung jury, the second with a guilty verdict. Wilde was sentenced to 2 years of hard labour with periods of solitary confinement, after which he lived an itinerant existence on the continent for the last 2.5 unhappy years of his life. Considering the Wilde trials from the perspectives of dignity and honour, we will focus on the use of libel law by claimants to protect their reputations and the use of libel cases by the courts as the custodians of prevailing values to construct and police forms of social, cultural and sexual identity. The Wilde trials permit a nuanced consideration of the relationship between these two phenomena because the transition from the prosecution of Queensberry by the Crown on Wilde's libel accusation to the prosecution of Wilde by the Crown on Queensberry's plea of justification articulates the distinction between defamation law as a recourse for private citizens seeking to safeguard their dignity and as a forum for the legal institutional management of the public sphere. Ever since Queensberry first darkened Wilde's door in June 1894, accompanied by a prize fighter and threatened violence, Wilde had entertained the possibility of taking legal action. But it was not until the insults were committed to paper on the famous visiting card that Wilde's lawyers felt confident in prosecuting. He could easily have disregarded the slur against his honour